Hello, I'm Ben Byram-Wigfield, and this is my introduction to using Dorico notation software for anyone who's already familiar with Finale. In this video, we'll look at engrave mode and making changes to your score. In Finale, you'll be used to moving expressions in relation to their attachment point. In Dorico, write mode is where you would move the attachment point, the beat position on the grid of an object, and engrave mode is where you move it while keeping the attachment point fixed. Also note that you can't delete any notation in engrave mode. One important concept in Dorico is properties. When you select any item, you will see loads of different options in the properties panel at the bottom of the screen. Engrave mode will reveal more properties than write mode, because these concern the appearance rather than the substance of an object. Now, you'll see there's a switch here for local and global. When it's set to local, the property change only affects the current layout. When it's set to global, that change will affect every layout. Now, why does each property have a switch? Clicking the switch shows that the property is overridden from whatever the default behavior is. If you go to Engraving Options, you will find the same properties as in the Properties panel, and you can adjust the default behavior for every element in your document. The switch means that the behavior on a given object is fixed, regardless of the default. This is one of the fundamental concepts in Dorico. Start with the defaults, the global settings, and then work your way down to the particular. In Finale, you might be tempted to just start moving things around manually to get them where you want them. But in Dorico, you should always look for the options to change everything at once first, and then only make manual changes where absolutely necessary. Another way to put it is, always try to do less. You might be tempted to start moving staves around with the staff spacing tool, but you would be much better off looking through the layout options first, which include all kinds of parameters for spacing distances and vertical justification. If you're having trouble with something in Dorico, it's always worth checking what the defaults are and then see if there are overrides on that object. Page layout is another area where this philosophy of working from the general to the particular plays out. Dorico's page layout is a bit like DTP software, so if you've ever used InDesign or Affinity Publisher, you'll be familiar with the concept of frames, which are containers for text, graphics, and in this case, music. Dorico uses page templates to define the layout of every page. There are two templates by default, one for the first page, which usually has additional titling, and one for every other page. The first page can also be used for each new flow, though there are also flow headings, which can appear at the start of every flow even if they fall in the middle of a page. Finale has various text fields in file info which you can insert into any text box. Dorico has these on steroids. There are fields for all kinds of information, for the project as a whole and for each flow. These are entered using tokens, which are special codes that Dorico interprets. It's even possible to create an automatic table of contents using tokens alone. So, if you want to change something on the layout, do it on the page template once, and it will change for every page and every layout that uses that template. If you make a change manually on the page, then you will only change that one page. And once you've made a change on that page, rather than a template, that page will now be an override, you guessed it, unlinked from the template, and any new changes to the template will no longer be applied. There is, of course, much more to say and much more to discover. The last thing I'd say is, let Dorico do the work. Don't fight it and don't spend all your time trying to make manual adjustments everywhere. Dorico does have some great tools for making manual adjustments, but it's equally possible to make a finished score with no manual changes to the layout at all. Remember the golden rule: work from the global to the particular, and always try to do less. I hope you found this useful. Best of luck.